Parker Bowling, I am so glad to be with you today to record a little piece about an upcoming course of yours with a very unique title, Meditation for Young Activists. So I'm eager to jump in to learn more about this course with you and its potential audience. But first of all, Parker, if you can just share with our viewers who you are and how you came to teach a course like this.
Yeah, good question. So I am a social worker here in Louisville. I was born and raised here. And in addition to being a social worker, I also teach trauma informed mindfulness classes throughout the community. And I also always love to weave like nature-based connection and spirituality into these courses. And over the course of the past year, with the uprisings in the summer, the pandemic, the ongoing crises we find ourselves in, I felt really called to offer a space where we can kind of merge social work practice with organizing, with activism, mindfulness, all in one space. That's kind of,
And
yeah.
why should organizing and activist work go together with mindfulness? How do those belong to each other?
Yeah, I think there's a huge myth that mindfulness is what we've made it out to be on the cover of Time magazine, of this
Mm.
white woman per se on a beach somewhere exotic, like sitting in this perfect lotus position in all white clothes or whatever it is. And that's not,
Untouched by the
and I think,
cares of the world, right?
right, yeah. And I don't think that's not how mindfulness was started as a practice. And it's not how it's evolved for most of its 2,500 years of existence. So much of it instead is like, how do we, as a community, which is also very important, I think, in mindfulness, we think of it as a solitary practice. Today, it's inherently one of community. How do we confront the suffering and crises that we inevitably find ourselves in? And how do
Mm.
we navigate that not only with a sense of clarity and insight, but also of compassion? So that warming of the heart, that being willing to look the suffering that we're inevitably facing right now in the eye together and find a way to move through it with as much ease, as much compassion as possible.
Right. And without burning out and hitting the
Yeah.
deck.
Easier said than done. So yeah, so it's a mixture of, yeah, how do we confront these things, but also taking care of ourselves, taking care of each other,
Mm.
which can, yeah, have a lot of cliche type self-care, do this, do that, but in reality, we have to do it. I think a lot of us are realizing that a year into this pandemic, that
Yeah.
we have to take care of ourselves and each other.
Well, in a sentence or two, what are you going to do in this course? How is a young activist or a young mindfulness practitioner is going to benefit from this offering?
Yeah, yeah. So maybe a couple sentences, because one, it's very niche of an
You
offering,
could
which
do
is
one long run-on sentence if you wanted,
right.
or
Well, yeah, I'll use some colons or something. So it's a 4-week class, and it's kind of structured as a sequence. So each week we'll be building on different themes and explorations together. So the first week is introducing mindfulness as a radical act, as this confronting reality as it is. The second week builds upon that to talk about compassion and loving kindness in a way that deals with what we're actually facing day to day in our world. The third week then introduces social justice as a spiritual act. So how do we take those first two, weeks we talk about it? How do we take that into our organizing, whether it's on the streets, in our job, in our families? And then the fourth week is starting to broaden out to think about more than just the human world we find ourselves in, but we're inevitably in this climate crisis, this climate emergency. So broadening this of how do we find our ecological niche? How do we find a sense of belonging in the natural world, which includes humans, but all of the more than human beings who we share this planet with? And so that's kind of the 4-week sequence we'll be building on. So I'll offer a bunch of different practices that'll hopefully weave together and provide a sense of, yeah, a toolbox for resilience is the hope.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I find myself wishing I were in that 18 to 35-year-old age bracket still.
Right.
But in any case, am I right that whether you are just an absolute beginner with mindfulness or have some experience already, this is a course that could benefit?
Yeah, yeah. So it will be open to complete beginners. And if you've had experience in different mindfulness classes, I will say that I think I introduced it in a different way than what you traditionally might have been taught. Traditionally, how I
Mhm.
was taught was differently. So it'll be very communal. Is a great refresher course and something you can build upon.
Fantastic. And again, this title of the course is Meditation for Young Activists, Engage Mindfulness for Collective Change. It is beginning on February 9th. It'll run 4 Tuesdays from noon to 1 p.m. And everyone can learn more about this by going to the Earth and Spirit Center website, earthandspiritcenter.org. And the easiest way to find it, I think, is just to click on the Learn to Meditate tab, and it will be under there. So Parker, we wish you well on this course. We invite everyone to join you. I think they're in for a great experience. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Bye.